Okay, we are going to make a start in a seated position on your mat. So we're going to start with the knees bent. Hands can come behind your thighs. I want you to lift yourself up high on the sitting bones. So sometimes you might kind of feel you've got to scoop the flesh of your butt cheek out of the way to get that feeling of being high on the sitting bones, and that's all good. Okay, so let's find that alignment of the spine, energize, lift up tall, create some space between the shoulders and the ears. You can feel active with the arms here, really holding yourself up. So we're going to start with a pelvic tilt in this position. On your exhale, hug the abdominals towards your spine and just let your lower back round. Try not to let that be in your shoulders. And then as you inhale, we're going to bring ourselves tall. And then exhale, we tug the pelvis under, and then inhale, pull up, get active with the arms for that. Exhale, hug the abdominals in, inhale, lengthen up, and then exhale. So you can see that my pelvis is just rocking back, and it's a sense of creating more space at your lower back with this movement, and then really hugging in through your center as you go into that pelvic tilt. Now you might feel comfortable staying here, or you might want to progress this. Each time as you get that tilt, can you take it back a little bit? You might need to take the arms down the back of the thighs with that movement. See if you can keep that rounded or C-curved spine as you come up, and then lift it tall. And then scoop the belly, roll it back, adjust the arms if necessary. We're going no lower than the lower back coming in contact, so just a half roll back for those of you who are adding that variation. Just starting to warm up into the abdominals, mobilizing the spine, finding our connection with the breath. Exhale, get that tuck of the pelvis first. And then keep it. Then find that lift high on the sits bones. Let's keep going with that for a few more repetitions. Exhale. Hold for that breath in. Bring it up. And notice where the weight is in your feet. So they lift away as you roll back. Would it feel more comfortable maybe to bring your feet a little closer or further away? Check it out. Are your shoulders relaxed with this, or are you pulling from there? You want to feel the pull from your center. Let's do one more. Exhale, roll it back. And then I want you to keep this position if you can. Take your hands just behind you, so you're resting on your forearms. You're going to bring your heels in towards your bottom. Now here, we're not just hanging out, unfortunately. I want you to keep energized through your chest, a little bit of push down through those forearms, nice and proud across the chest. So we're going to go into our leg lift exercise from this position. So let's float one leg up to tabletop, that's that 90-degree angle, then the other, and we're going to hold there. Now that might feel challenging enough for you, and just work on the hold and relaxing it down if you need to. If you want the progression, we're going to hinge down with one leg, bring it back up. Down with the other, bring it back up. So take momentum out, slow this down, it should feel like work. As you're tapping down, there's a tightening through the abdominals, through the center. Don't lose that proud chest. Work with the breath. Exhale to hinge that leg back up. Inhale down. Find that balance on the back of your pelvis. Any discomfort in this position, you can come to laying down fully on your back and just work on lifting one leg at a time. Let's do one more left and right. Finding that tabletop with both legs, then both feet are going to come down, and then we are going to scoot down the mat a little and bring ourselves into a supine position. And again, I just want you to adjust your pelvis, maybe rock it forward and back a few times. Relax the shoulders, and once you've got your feet in that parallel position, just check towards your knees. Are they around about hip distance apart? Have you got a little bit of space at your lower back so that you're feeling comfortable there? Okay, we are going to bring the hands in behind the head. And we are going to keep our elbows in our peripheral vision and chin slightly drawn down for the chest lift. So taking a breath to prepare, tighten the abdominals, let's curl the body up, looking towards the thighs, and then lowering it down. Keep going with that. Try to let the head be in that slight nodded position as you come up. And think about the head pressing back into the hands. So we're reducing any tension through the neck. And lift. And lowering back. So warming up more into the abdominals, finding our connection there. Shortening the distance between our ribs and our hips each time that we curl the back off the mat. Taking a break whenever you need one. For those of you that are still going with me, let's hold it up there. Can we bring one leg back to tabletop? Can we bring the other leg back to tabletop? Squeeze the knees together, and then we're going to reach the arms around to hold on to the knees. So going into single leg stretch. Extend one leg away, and then the other. And then change, and change. Keep the eyes looking in, try not to let the head drop back. If this is too challenging, I'm going to show you the modified version. You bring the head down, you go into your leg lifts here, where you've got the hinging action from your hip. For those of you up for the challenge, let's keep it going. Keep that flexion, lengthen away. Press down on the knee, feel the stability through your center, hugging the abdominals. And let's count it down. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Drop the heels towards your bottom, hug the knees in, small circles, massaging the spine into your mat. Lovely. Let's go both ways. Great. Okay. Bring the feet back down, parallel position again. We're going to do some spinal articulation or bridging. And I want you to find that position where you've got some space at your lower back. Lengthen your arms down, they're active. Feet are parallel, pressing into your mat. Let's find that top of the pelvis, start to articulate the spine away from your mat, reaching out with the knees at the top. Soften your chest, let's wave it back down, connecting with each vertebra. And then release the top of the pelvis at the bottom. Exhale, tighten the belly button down towards the spine. Lift it up, get that sense of reaching out the knees. Feel like you're pushing your heels down into the mat, like almost you want to pull them towards you. Can you sense the back of the legs, your glutes? And then exhale, let's soften it down. Control it, one vertebra at a time, returning. Release the top of the pelvis, find the connection to center, and then peeling it up. Again, add that little pause at the top, really work on that sense of almost like your heels want to pull back towards your sit bone. So you can really connect into the hamstrings, the glutes, and then exhale, waving it down. Or you might be moving a little bit quicker than me. That's all good too. As you're moving up and down, think about your alignment. If you've got your chin jutting right up like this, bring it back down so you've got a nice lengthened back of the neck. Check out your knees. As you're moving up and down through your spine, do they tend to roll in or out? And if you can you make them more parallel? Beautiful. So we are going to go 2 more times with these pelvic curls, finding that connection of the back of the leg, strong lift without overarching into the back. And at the top on this next one, we have a progression. So if this is enough, just keep going with these. Progression at the top is to bring 1 leg into tabletop without shifting the pelvis. Now you can either keep the leg bent or you can extend it up towards the ceiling. Point the foot if you like having a pointed foot, or you can flex or just keep it relaxed. And we're adding that little dip. Can you see that there? I'm lowering my pelvis and then pressing back up. All of that work I'm feeling on my standing leg, the one nearest to you. Now I've got some little deviations going on right now, folks. This is hard. We've got one more. Dip and push. And then bend that leg in. Let's bring it down. I'm going to be nice. We're going to roll it down in between so we're not holding up all the way. Okay. Well, that's how we've just already taught 3 classes in a row. Let's take it back up again. All right. So at the top, again, find that strong alignment. Glutes are switched on. We've got that sense of reaching out the knees. Stand into that leg. And we're going to bring it up. Unfold if you're going for this position. Point the foot if you love it. And then let's dip and push up. Feel the connection, the back of the leg, really engaged on the foot that's down on your mat. If these dips are just too much, you could be doing it with 2 feet down on the mat and having those little dips and push up. So you've got options there. I believe we have one more to make it even with the other side. For those of you who know me, I'm not the best when it comes to counting repetitions. Okay, we are going to roll it down and down. Take your time with this. Enjoy that sense of lengthening the spine as you bring it back down. And then we're going to release the top of the pelvis at the bottom. Just rock and roll forward and back maybe a few times. And let's move into our next exercise, which is the leg circles. So you can do this with your arms out to the T. You can keep your supporting leg bent. That makes it a little bit more stable. Or you might like to lengthen the leg out. I'm going to go with the lengthened leg out because I like to stretch. So we're going to float back up to tabletop. Now we're aiming to extend that leg as much as possible. Work with where you're at. If that means your knee has to be really bent, that's okay. It might also mean that you have to be a little bit lower, but you can get extension. Go for that. So it's all good. If you can flex the foot, add that. Helps with the visual of drawing a circle on your ceiling. So we're going to come towards the middle of your body, circle the leg, and then around, down, and then back up. Now keep your circles small to begin with. The objective of this exercise is to keep your pelvis still while the leg is moving. So we're just going to keep these circles pretty slow and steady, taking out any sudden movement so it becomes easier to stabilize. Try and keep that feeling of being open across your chest in this T position. One more crossing over the center line of the body, and then let's hold at the top. Other way, so I'm coming towards you now. As I come in, I'm just coming in line with the center of the body. I'm not crossing it. So all the movement is going away from my center line. Hope that makes sense. If it doesn't, tell me, and I'll attempt to explain in a message to you. Okay, let's keep it going. And let's just do one more here. Keeping that flex of the foot up if you can. Now I'm going to bend that leg back in. You're going to bring your opposite arm onto your knee. And you're just going to draw that knee across your body. So you're getting a lovely rotation and stretch. Now, no force with this stretch. We're not pulling the knee beyond where it feels comfortable for your hip. If it's available to you, you might like to turn your head and look at your outstretched hand. And let's breathe into that. See if you can let your pelvis and your shoulder that's resting on the mat sink down a little bit more with each exhale. Okay, we're going to come on out because we're going to do it on the other side. So slide that leg away or bring it into that bent knee position. Bring the other one in. Think about keeping the pelvis square, tabletop. lengthening out to where you can, add flexion if you can, coming towards you this time or crossing the center line of my body. I'm aiming to keep the pelvis really still. So that circular movement is coming right from the top of your leg bone. If this is new to you and you're finding it really hard to stabilize your leg because it's out there in space, you could use a TheraBand and just kind of anchor it in. So you've got a little bit more stability there and your elbows are down on the mat to help with that. So something to check out if you're so inclined. Let's do one more here, crossing over the center line of the body, pausing once we reach the top, and keep reaching through that heel kind of circle away from you. Again, keep this movement small. You don't want to be really lifting the pelvis away from the mat with the movement. If you find that's happening, just keep it small. Keep breathing. Easy to hold your breath when you're really concentrated on being stable. And easy to hold tension in other areas of the body. Try and keep your shoulders relaxed. Okay, this is our last one here. Let's pause at the top. Let's bend that knee in, bring that opposite hand over. Bring it across the body for that rotation stretch. Again, adjust the gaze. Look towards that hand if it feels good for your neck to do so. And breathe into it. With each exhale, letting the parts of your body that are in contact with the mat get a little bit heavier. And then we're going to unfold that. Let's turn over onto our side, and then we're going to come on up to a kneeling position. I'm going to go with my head facing this way, just because then I can see my clock and it makes sure that I keep this class for 30 minutes. Because I'm terrible at going over time sometimes. Okay, so we're going to set up in a 4-point knee. Before we get going here, just look at your armpits. If you're locking out like this, try and soften off and turn the creases of your armpits in a little. Give yourself some space between your fingers. So not spreading your hands out that wide that it creates tension, but just so that they're not all grouped up together. Make sure your knees have a bit of space between them and they're directly below your hips. So I want you to kind of get lazy in your upper back. Kind of just let your chest sink down towards the mat and just check out how that feels. And then imagine you've got a candle underneath your chest. Someone just lit the candle. Can you lift your chest up and away and feel how active you feel in your mid and upper back? Now go back to that slouchy, relaxed feeling, and then get active again. Press the chest away. We don't want to touch the flame. And then sink it down. And then push away. Now I want you to keep going with that. And just start to sense the movement of your shoulder blades. How they draw together when they're relaxed. And how they broaden as you press your sternum away from the mat. While you're doing this, see if each time you push away and get that broad mid-back feeling, can you hug the abdominals in as well? And then maybe back off with that hugging sensation each time you slouch the upper back. And we're just going to do that 2 more times, feeling the difference between active and not so active. So let's hold that active position. Now you might want to just keep working with that and keep that abdominal connection, that hugging in of the abdominals to spine. But if you want a bit more of a challenge, you're going to tuck your toes under. Now, without changing any of that beautiful engagement we've got right now of our center and our mid-back, we're going to come into a hover of the knees. Can you see that? I am hovering, folks. And it feels challenging. A lot of work through the shoulders to hold. Now, if you need to come out of it before me, that's all good. But if you can, let's hold for 2 more counts. And then we're going to stretch out through the backs of the legs, lift the pelvis up towards the ceiling, push the heels down towards the floor into our butt stretch. or downward dog if you're a yoga devotee. Now we're going to come back down to that kneeling position. For those of you who are able, you might be able to come into that hover straight away, pushing the chest out, getting that strong connection. For those of you who are just beginning, you come back to relaxed feet and just getting that press through the mid-back. That strong feeling behind the shoulders. And then I'm going to add the hover. For those of you who are with me, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We're pressing back up into our up stretch. Get that pull down through the heels. Don't worry if you can't get them down. You should just feel elongated through your calves. Long flat back. Lovely. We're going to transfer the weight. This time, just relax the feet. You're going to lay down onto your tummy. Now, I just want you to rest your forehead down. As I'm chatting, I'll keep my head up. Okay, so we're going to have forearms pressing into your mat or the floor. How wide you go, you've got to get comfortable with your shoulders here. So I want you to just rest your forehead down, press your pubic bone down into the mat. And then I want you to press your forearms down into the mat. And imagine you're dragging the floor backwards. And then start to come into a hover with your upper back. And I want you to imagine you're trying to pull your upper back forward. So you should feel your shoulder blades drawing down your back. And it's like you're trying to get your spine longer. Rather than making it all about lifting the chin, just kind of shooting the energy forward, lengthening, but getting really engaged around that mid-back area, around the shoulder blades. And then we're going to soften everything off, release the tension in the forearms, let the feet roll out, soften the glutes. If you are tightening those, it happens. Soften your shoulders. Take a breath, and then we're going to reset again. So first thing, pubic bone, that slight tuck of the pelvis. Press the hands, press the forearms. Keep the forearms down, start to drag with the hands, and then start to pull forward with the sternum. Let the gaze of your eyes just be somewhere at the front end of your mat. And we're looking for a sense of length and engagement here, folks, rather than height. Can you really sense the scapula and the muscles involved in drawing them down a little? Can you feel those 2 columns of muscle either side of your spine? Keep pressing with the forearms. Great. And then let's slowly lower that down and take a breather. Push yourself back into rest pose. You might want to take the knees a little wider so you get a bit of a stretch into the hips. Adjust the arms so that you're comfortable there. And we're going to take a couple of breaths. Letting the lower back have a bit of a stretch there, put some space. A soft rounded position. And then let's come up to a side seated position. So we're going to do a mermaid to finish, because why not on a Friday afternoon? So you can sit like I am, with kind of like a Z-shape position of the legs. Or if that's uncomfortable for your hip, just cross your legs or have the soles of the feet together. Get where you need to be. So arms are reaching out to the T. You're sliding away from your front leg. So for me, I'm going this way. It's all back to front when you're recording on the screen. I'm going to get better at this. I'm going to my right, so I'm guessing for you it's to the left. I'm mirroring you. Anyway, slide the rib cage across. Then you're going to tip the body. Okay, lower hand is down, but you've still got a long spine. Sweep the top arm around, and it's like you're trying to square off the shoulders here. Get that lovely stretch across the back of the rib cage, unwind it, and then you're going to work the waist to bring yourself back up. There might be a little bit of a push off that bottom hand, that's all good. And then let's rotate. So doing it with more flow now. Reach that T position, pull from the underneath side of your waist to get up, and up and over. Rotate and reach, square the shoulders, look down. Inhale, look front. Exhale, come top. Up and over. Rotate. Get some space over the back of the ribs. Unwind. And top. We're going one more this way. Tongue tied. I'll do it in a minute. Unwind. And bring it up. Okay, let's change the legs. So other one comes in front, other one parallel to the edge of your mat. Relax the shoulders, find that T position. So slide the ribcage across slightly in the direction that you're going. Find that connection with your lower hand. Rotate around, looking towards the mat. Let's unwind, facing center, or front, and up. And again, up and over. Rotate. Square the shoulders as best you can. Find that stretch across the ribs. Front, and lifting up. And again, up and over. And rotating. Full breath in. Exhale as we pull up. Inhale, flexing sideways. Rotate. Can you touch the mat? Doesn't matter if you can't. As long as you're feeling a stretch in this rotation of the spine. And then we're going to unwind it here. Come up into that T position. And then I just want you to turn side. And we are going to finish where we started. So finding that tall lift of the spine. Get comfortable on the booty. And we are going to scoop the belly. Find that rounding in the lower back. So this can look really small. If we're trying to avoid rounding those shoulders, it's a pretty subtle movement, but you can feel it, you can sense as you rock that pelvis back, that connection to your abdominals. Exhale, inhale, exhale, round and lengthen the lower back. Inhale, grow tall. We're going to do the last few without the arms behind us. So I just want to float the arms in front, get that scoop and round it. And then as you come tall, we're going to lift it tall with the arms. And then we're going to go back to that rounding and lift it tall. And then roundings, long C curve, and come up. Last one, scoop the belly, tuck the tail. Now here, bring it up, inhale. Did your shoulder blades elevate too much? Relax them down, soften, soften, soften. Take another full breath. And then exhale, float the arms down by your sides. And thank you very much for joining me. I will see you next time.